Meso here at Meso Making It. And today we're getting ready to make lasagna. Lasagna is one of my favorite Italian meals. I love it. And when I make lasagna, much like when I make any other dish, very seldom do I make it the same way all the time. Just about every dish I make, I don't follow recipes as a rule. In general, I don't follow recipes. So when I cook, it's really about feeling the food, feeling what you're cooking, and it comes from the heart. And so when I cook, I may add ingredients that I think will go well in a dish because I have that ingredient on hand, or it might be just something that I like or I'm feeling like having that day. And that's just the way I cook. And I think it's good to cook like that. I try to teach young women to cook like that. If you need to use measurements at first when you start cooking, that's good, that's fine. But begin to search for a feel in cooking. Feel the food, and it's remember, it's your kitchen, it's your food, it's your dish, serving to your family. So you make it yours, you cook it the way that you want to cook it. There's no one way to cook anything. So when I'm cooking lasagna today, I'm going to be using vegetables in with my meat. So it's going to be a vegetable and meat lasagna, which is the way I make lasagna most times. So today I'm going to be using spinach. I'm going to put a yellow summer squash, chopped up very finely in it. So those are going to be the two vegetables that I use. And then I'm going to use, my meat, and the rest is the basics. And I put different things. Sometimes I make vegetable lasagna with no meat, and sometimes I use just meat. Sometimes I use cottage cheese. I have used several cheese that the name fails me right now, but I've used different kinds of cheese instead of cottage cheese. There's another Italian cheese that the name escapes me right now, but I've used it instead of cottage cheese. And then sometimes I don't use any of that kind of cheese. I just use your basic provolones and cheddar. The point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to just get one recipe and follow it. Don't be afraid to use your recipe as a guide, especially when you first begin to cook. Look at that recipe and maybe cook it a time or two like that and use it as a guide, just so you can get a feel for how the food should taste and look and how the preparation should be. But then don't be afraid to begin to add things in it that you like and that your family will like. But today the lasagna that I'm making is going to have some squash and some spinach and a little onion and meat. Should be really, really good. So let's get back down. So in this pan, I put about 1.5 pounds of ground beef. And I'm just letting it brown. Actually, I think this is ground chuck, I believe. Not ground beef. Just letting it brown, hanging out. I also have here some frozen spinach. I have two 8-ounce packages. I'm going to use that in my lasagna. I like to put some kind of vegetable in my lasagna, and usually I use spinach, but I have used zucchini and squash cut up very fine, and so I like a little vegetable in my lasagna. So here I have my squash. I'm going to put one yellow squash into the lasagna. So we got this cooking. Let me turn this meat up a little bit. I'm in a bit of a hurry, so this is something that I'm going to do quickly. We don't a lot of times we don't think about lasagna as being a quick dish, but this is going to be quick. because today I'm not making my sauce. I'm not making a homemade sauce. I'm using just a store-bought sauce, but you know, a lot of times it's just as good. It's just as good. But if you want to use a homemade sauce, go ahead and do that. Sometimes I use, tomato sauce and tomato paste, and I season it, and then I cook it, for a long time. Chop up onions and put it in, whatever I want to put in it, and then I cook it for a couple of hours and put a little bit of maybe a tablespoon of sugar in it, just to break up that acidic taste from the tomatoes. So, but I'm not doing that today. Today I am taking a shortcut, and I am going to use store-bought tomato paste. Not tomato paste, but pasta sauce. That'll work just fine. Nobody will ever know the difference. Okay. So here you see that the meat is cooked. Already it has grease in it, so I am going to drain it. I'm going to put it in a colander. Here's my colander. And I just use a colander, a couple of paper towels inside of a pie tin. This is just a throwaway aluminum pie tin. I put my colander in here, and I'm going to pour my cooked meat into the colander. I've only got one hand, so I'm going to just stop for a minute and show you that after it's done. So here I've just wiped my pan out to get the oil from the meat out, and I'm putting in my squash. Into the pan. I'm going to let it cook for just a little while until it softens up. And I didn't cut up my onion yet, but I am going to add an onion to this pan. But I'm going to cook it in with the squash, just a little bit of cut up onion, not much at all. I just like enough to have some vegetables in my lasagna, and like I said, I will be putting the spinach in also. Alright, so let's do this. Here you see that I've added just a little bit of onion to the cut up squash. Just a little onion and just a little squash. But I don't need a lot of onion because my the pasta sauce that I'm using is seasoned. It has garlic, it has salt. It does have onion in it, so I don't need a lot of onion. I could have made it with no onion. Okay, we'll come back in just a minute. Okay, so here you see that I have added my ground beef in with the squash and the onions. And I'm going to turn it back on because I had turned it off, of course, after the squash got soft. So I'm going to turn that back on. And I'm going to add in 1 can of my pasta sauce. This happens to be the garlic herb. I'm going to add in this 1 can. I didn't get a whole lot of grease on my paper towel from the meat, and I do usually like to use the ground sirloin or the ground chuck as opposed to ground beef, because it usually is more lean, but you use what you like. Okay. So we're going to cook this. I'm going to let this get hot. Really, this is already cooked. I'm going to just let this come together. Meanwhile, I've got my spinach here. I'm going to put it in the same colander. And I'm going to use my wooden spatula to just press out the liquid. I don't want all the liquid that's going to be in the spinach. I don't want that in my dish. So I'm just going to let it drain, and I'm going to press it so that I can press out most of that liquid. Let this drain for a while. And this is cooking nicely, heating nicely. I don't know yet if I'm going to use the other can of, I have another can of pasta sauce. I don't think I maybe could use a little more, but I definitely don't need that much. So I don't think I'm going to open it. I think I'm just going to make do with what I have. I think that will be enough. So let's let this continue to heat, and we'll come back and we'll begin to assemble our dish. Oh, also, let me put a little bit of salt. I'm going to add into this just a little bit of salt. A little bit of, and just a little bit of garlic. Let's let this cook together. And we'll come back and we'll be ready to assemble it in just a few minutes. I mean, I'm all over the place with this camera, guys. I know. Because I'm trying to hold the camera with one hand and cook with the other. Stir and mix and cook. And I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at it. So anyway, please bear with me. And I hope it's enough for you to know. You get the gist of what I'm doing. Okay. We'll come back and see what we got. So here, I just wanted to show you that this is the juice that came out of the spinach. Gonna set that aside. We really didn't need for our spinach to be that wet. Here is the spinach, and I have some cottage cheese here, and I'm gonna put cottage cheese. I'm just gonna go ahead and mix it up with my spinach. Sometimes I do a layer of cottage cheese and a layer of spinach. Doesn't really matter which way you do it. Today, I'm just going to, gosh, my camera angle is so bad. Some of you that can work with one hand, I really admire you. Here I'm sprinkling in some Goya all-purpose seasoning, just so I can put a little seasoning in my spinach. Every layer needs to be seasoned. And I'm not able to do this with one hand, but I just wanted to show you getting started, and I'm going to mix that up, and I'll come right back. So here's the spinach and the cottage cheese all mixed up together. And I'm going to, here's my lasagna. You can see here that I have the oven ready lasagna noodles. So you don't really have to boil them. They're already ready to put in the casserole. And what I'm going to do is just going to take a little bit of the meat and just put it in the bottom of the, I'm using a glass dish. You can use anything. You can use an aluminum pan. So here I just put, you can see that I just put the spinach, a layer of spinach. Put a layer of the lasagna noodles. And I'm going to put one more layer of meat. Now I have finished off with the last layer being the noodle, the spinach and cottage cheese, my cheddar cheese mix, my meat. Now I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Okay. And I'm going to put on some more cheddar cheese. I like mine real cheesy, but not so much that the cheese begins to get rubbery. Not that much, but cheesy. I keep holding my phone up because I'm trying to see. If I don't hold my phone up just a little bit, that's why it keeps going up like that. Because I'm trying to see what I'm doing. Trying to see what I'm doing. I can't see it. So anyway, this is the way that looks. And I'm gonna set it into my oven. I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees, and I'm gonna sit it in there and let it cook about 45 minutes to an hour. So there it is in the oven. I put it on 325. Because I want it to. I'm not going to serve it for a couple of hours. Till about, well, not quite a couple of hours, until about an hour and a half, till about 7. So, want mine to cook a little slower. As I said, everything is done. Just needs to melt and sort of meld together. Okay, we'll check back. So here's a look at the finished product. And looks pretty good. Let me plate it up and then we'll take a look at that and get a taste. Okay, here it is. This is the finished product. Looks very good. I've let it rest for a few minutes so that it can all sort of come together and not be so, you know, if you cut it when it's really hot, it's going to be runny. It won't hold its shape. So this is, I've let this rest for about, I guess 15 minutes. I cooked mine on 325 for about an hour and 15 minutes. Normally I would cook it on about 350 for about an hour, but I wasn't ready to serve mine. So anyway, try this. I think you're going to be pleased. This is going to be really, really good. And I'm getting ready to serve it to my family. You make it and see if you enjoy it or not.